元讯多媒体报道，2月8日太平洋时间上午11点，行动反对仇恨联盟召开媒体系列的网上会议。会议的主题是反仇恨行动联盟将执法单位领导人聚集在一起的圆桌会议，讨论至关重要的仇恨犯罪解决方案，定义仇恨犯罪，扩大受害者外联和报道，以及执法单位与社区的合作的重要性。反仇恨联盟组织是为了专注于确认和实施针对仇恨犯罪的解决方案而成立的。随着整个加州仇恨犯罪的持续上升，没有比抓住时机来显得更为重要。这个过程需要清楚地了解什么是仇恨犯罪，坦率、公开地讨论仇恨犯罪的原因，需要所有利益相关者一起合作，承诺投入资源来寻求解决的方案，以恢复信心，并且进一步强调执法单位的作用至关重要。这包括了所有机构在多个层面的参与。执法部门还需要加强与社区关系并建立信任，以便获得服务的居民能感到鼓励而愿意沟通，同时感受得到民众的认可及尊重。2月8日，反仇恨法行动联盟的圆桌会议将执法人员的领导者聚集在一起，坦率地讨论他们的组织如何应对仇恨犯罪，以及他们希望在未能看到实质性、永久进展的变化。本次会议的主持人，反对仇恨联盟创始人何美梅和前加州参议员及共和党参议院领袖夏勒伯。主讲嘉宾有前洛杉矶县治安官、现任南加州大学普莱斯公共政策学院安全社区研究所所长吉姆·麦当纳，前加州青年管理局局长，目前负责里奥洪多警察学院沃尔特·艾伦，圣拉蒙市警察局长丹顿卡尔森，国际警察局长协会项目主任多明戈·赫拉兹，联邦调查局。
Today's briefing and for your support. Act Against Hate Alliance was founded in 2022 to focus on finding and implementing solutions against hate crimes. Today, we have assembled a diverse group of law enforcement officials who represent and or train society's frontline in dealing with hate crimes. The role of law enforcement is a crucial one and can include involvement of all agencies at multiple levels, as we have assembled here today. The most effective law enforcement strengthens relations and builds trust with communities so that those served feel safe interacting and communicating with them. Unlike headlines and videos seen in the past week from Memphis, Tennessee, San Ramon Police Chief Carlson exemplifies his proactive approach to policing, and his ability to react quickly to catch the perpetrator was enhanced by his department's positive relationship with the San Ramon community.
Mass shooting. I have the privilege right now of training police recruits, this is my last stop in a long career. And one of the major things we do here is deal with the subject of cultural diversity. When police officers leave Rio Hondo and go to their separate departments, they have received training in the proper techniques for investigating hate crimes. That is a mandatory requirement for all police officers to understand how to conduct the crime, and also victimology, dealing with the victims with a great deal of empathy. The Post Commission, which is the Commission on Peace Officer Standards and Training, regulates all police officer training for all 41 police academies in the state of California. And one of the requirements is how to conduct hate crime investigations, and also dealing with the issues of victimology when we have these horrific acts against the public for bigotry-driven reasons. So it's a privilege to be here this morning and to talk about the issue of hate crimes. And I wanted to mention one of the issues that I feel that we need to deal with, and this I'm speaking as a elected official locally, is the issue of mental health. I think that is a major driver of some of the major incidents that we've had in California regarding violent crime. Recently, Senate Bill 1338 instituted what is called the CARE Act, which is Community Assistance, Recovery, and Empowerment Court Program. And I think that's going to assist us with dealing with the horrific violent crime and mass shootings that we've seen in California. And I believe that a lot of that's driven by some of the severe mental health issues that we're having in our society.
Issues overall. I think there's a misnomer of what hate crimes are and they're not. And it is pervasive and it happens in all our communities. And we need to spend more time talking and understanding, even the general public, what is hate? And again, it goes against our as Mr. Chow said, our values. And that's so vitally important. The other two pieces that we focus on at IACP is the investigation and the prosecution of hate crimes. We know how crucial it is that we recognize and respond effectively to hate crimes. We know the impact that these crimes have and devastating, and I think this is the key point, long-lasting effect, both on the communities and the individuals, the victims of the hate crime. And that gives us the reason why leadership on this issue is so vitally important, and certainly that which you all provide in this area. So just a snapshot of IACP and what we've done in this space and are continuing to do, because again, we recognize in partnership with the U.S. Department of Justice, the Office of Community-Oriented Policing, and the Bureau of Justice Assistance, formed these issues and framework around this investigation and this prosecution to deliver services to the field all across the country. And it's important, again, because of the education and the awareness that we get to the officers so they understand as well, they can properly investigate, and then the prosecutors can properly prosecute. Because the challenge we face is if the investigation falls apart, there will be no prosecution. If there's no prosecution, no charges, then what do we have on the long-term, long-lasting effects and the devastation to the community? So in the wake of high-profile, hate-motivated attacks back in October of 2018, in particular, the one that caught our attention that caused IACP and DOJ, in this case, to form this collaborative was the 11 Jewish worshipers in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where that happened. And then, of course, we had 2 black shoppers in Jefferson, Kentucky, right around the same time. And then the mosque arsonist attack in Escondido, California in 2019 just kept happening. So we partnered up with an agency, the Arlington, Texas Police Department, who was seriously looking at this issue and said, we got to do more. And they developed a curriculum that has since been revised several times to the point now where we deliver that training across the country to police agencies, far and wide, rural, urban, suburban, major metropolitan areas, et cetera, through what we call the Collaborative Reform Initiative Technical Assistance Center. It's free training, both on the investigation side, the investigation and awareness side, as well as the prosecution side, so that we can lead in disseminating this information and getting more of these prosecutions. Because the only way that we're really going to be addressing this issue is to couple things, breaking down some of the barriers that exist to prosecution. Many times prosecutors will say, well, it's too difficult to prosecute on a hate crime charge. But yet we want the officers to charge them. So we working to get through all of those differentiations, and at the same time getting officers and agencies to pay more attention and do charge more individuals with hate crimes, because they truly are hate crimes. But without that understanding and awareness, and I know one of our guests works at the academy level, which is crucially important to all new recruits, because of the way law enforcement cycles in, cycles out over many period of years. We need to train everybody. So again, our emphasis in this area at IACP is through this free training that we offer to prosecutors and law enforcement agencies.
The full breadth of what's going on across the country. We have some issues with the transition from the FBI's Uniform Crime Reporting System, over to the NIBR system, the National Incident-Based Reporting System. That is a work in progress, and a lot of work has been put into that by the FBI and trying to get it up to speed. The deadline to be in that was in 2021, but unfortunately, with the pandemic and with some of the defunding efforts we've seen across the country, it's been hard for police chiefs and sheriffs across America to dedicate the personnel necessary to make that transition. But once it's made, we'll go into greater detail and being able to capture specifics about individual crimes, which will help on a national level then be able to look at trends, patterns, clusters across America to make it more useful and be more effective. I had the opportunity for about 15 years to chair the Law Enforcement Advisory Committee for the ADL. And in that role, we brought together hate crime coordinators and investigators from out the 7-county region throughout Southern California. That was an extremely valuable vehicle for being able to share information, be able to hear what's trending in other parts of the 7-county area, and to be able to see what worked effectively and what didn't. And we have a relatively small number of people in our society who would engage in this type of behavior. So it's important that those in law enforcement be aware of who those individuals are, what groups they're affiliated with, and how they operate. And that was very helpful in getting us the information we needed there. As you've heard, when a hate crime is prosecuted as such, there are enhancements involved in both charging and sentencing. And I agree 100% with Domingo that education is so critical for everyone throughout the system, for the victims of the crime, for people in the community leaders, about police officers, prosecutors, and everybody who will play a role in the system. We're all stakeholders in something as important as this. When an incident or a hate crime occurs, it truly rocks the community. The credibility of government, of the policing agencies is really rocked, and the sense of safety for all in the community is badly damaged. We talk about hate crimes and we throw that term of art around, but essentially in basic terms, it's a crime with a motivation of bias. And if you have
recording themselves, they were trying some of the secret item menus at In-N-Out Burger, and they were recording it to put it on TikTok when the gentleman approached them off camera and started engaging with them in his hate speech. And so that was an interesting situation, but again, it was critical, and it helped us identify who the individual was. It helped us take the steps. And there was a second incident that had happened in the town just north of us the next morning that was very similar behavior. So with all of those different components involved in the video evidence, it was critical for us being able to identify the individual and then take the actions that we took. The one thing that I will piggyback on what Jim was saying there is that, you know, I do think in some cases, some people are a little quick to try to capture that incident that's going to go viral. And I think the lack of action to support other human beings, I think it can be a detriment. And then I also think that in some cases, people will take out that phone and start recording it almost as a defense mechanism. And you know, I caution people on that manner, because if you just pull out your phone and tell somebody, hey, I'm recording you on video, to certain people, that doesn't make a difference. And that isn't going to stop somebody. It may put yourself in even more of a harm's way. So just be cautious and be careful, because the last thing any of us on this panel, anyone in this meeting wants to see is someone get hurt. And so we're always cautious in that, and that if you're going to record something, be safe about it. Don't put yourself in harm's way. And
so for us, we have Safe Trails, Safe Streets task forces for primarily on the criminal side of the house, where we partner with our other federal, state, and local and tribal leaders to bring everybody's best skill set to the fore and use those skills to go after the most violent offenders. Some of the things that the FBI has in terms of resources nationally, or the federal laws and the federal prosecutors, are some of the things where we can add to overall group, but our other federal, state, and local law enforcement agencies have many specific skills, and primarily our local law enforcement. They have the knowledge of the city, of the laws of the neighborhoods, and that deep relationship with the community where it's a huge advantage to bring all of our skills together and look for that most effective and efficient solution.
I believe Sheriff McDonnell previously mentioned there's this new platform that you're changing reporting to. Is the FBI overseeing that effort?
Yes, we are. So that's NIBR's system. And so currently the way that nationally that all of the crime statistics are reported does not include all police departments in all jurisdictions throughout the country. And some of the larger counties and sheriffs and police departments reporting is not included in the overall FBI report. With the transition to NIBR's, all of that data will be reported in the same fashion, reported in the same place. So there'll be a much more accurate representation and portrayal because it'll take a team to really make an impact on this threat. For us, hate crimes, it's not only an attack on a victim, it has a huge impact on the entire community due to the wide-ranging impact, and it really causes a problem for the community, which is why it's a priority for the FBI. We dedicate a ton of resources to hate crimes, and here in Los Angeles, we are one of the only field offices that has an entire squad dedicated to investigating hate crimes. We have a lot of other resources that we apply that may not be as commonly known. Some of those resources are community outreach specialists. Our community outreach specialists can be contacted and go to your community and provide briefings on some of the other services we provide primarily to victims. Victims of federal crimes have a right to receive victims, and the list is pretty extensive. And by contacting us here in Los Angeles, we can direct those resources to those in need. Some of the other resources we have are language specialists and language analysts. These are members of the FBI team who speak all manners of foreign languages and have cultural understanding and be able to communicate in someone's first language to make it a little bit easier to talk about some difficult problems. And we also have, in the last year or two, put out several public service announcements. These announcements we have translated into multiple languages. And what we're trying to do is encourage the reporting.
原宣多媒体报道，谢谢收看。